America Realty, here with my husband Wayne. We're on 5th Avenue South for the 13th annual Cars on 5th, sponsored by the Ferrari Club of America.
Hi, my name is Dean Pervolis. I own a 1936 Packard 120B. The 120B was made from 1935 to 37. It has a straight 8 engine, 282 cubic inches. I bought it last year actually from a gentleman in Long Island, New York. I've only had to rebuild the carburetor and the fuel pump and do some minor cosmetic repairs to it. Other than that, the car is as you see it, is the way I bought it, and I drive it every weekend around Naples. And I'm a member of the AACA club, which brings me here to this location with the other Packard members as well as other car collectors. I've lived in Naples for 30 years, and we always come to this event. Every year we bring a car. And it's been a great day, and I'm looking forward to next year.
Well, I'm Jack Dunning, and I'm from Cambridge, Ohio, and we're down here 6 months. I bring 5 cars down in a big truckload to play with for the winter and take them back in the spring. I won Best of Show here 2 years ago with a Thunderbird, and it's just a hobby. I've had this car for 20 years or so. It's been restored for 17 years. And it's a very unusual car. It's got a V16 engine. Cadillac and Worman were the only companies that made a V16 ever. And if you never heard of Worman won the first Indianapolis race in 1911. Right off the showroom floor. They took the fenders off and raced it. It's a very unusual car, and it's a pleasure to own.
I'm glad to be here at the Cars on 5th. I come here every year, try to bring something a little different. This is a 34 5-window coupe, kind of nostalgic old hot rod with a flathead in it, and it's kind of old period color, black, and fancied up a little bit with some green interior. And a lot of people are think about the old rumble seat that's back here in the back. The memories, good memories, bad memories, cold memories, with no windshield, and it's got a lot of people's good smile on their face here at 5th Avenue today. On the other side here, I've got a 33 3-window coupe, and rare in its own extreme because most of them were chopped, channeled, and things like that were done to them to make them hot rods. This is a little bit of a street rod. It's got a high-performance motor in it, but it's still the way Henry Ford put it out of the factory in Dearborn. And both cars have got their own little thing about them. This car is a little faster, a little easier to drive. It's fuel injected, air conditioning, things like that. It's more of a lady's car. That's why I let my wife drive it here today.
It's a 1953 MGTD. I had it stored in my basement in Massachusetts. I dragged it down here and restored it down here about 7 years ago, and I've been enjoying it ever since. I have other cars that I'm restoring. I just do one after the other. It's better than being on the streets.
Okay, my name is Jim Gibb. What I got here is a 32 deuce 5-window. I met Don Southam in 2000, and he wanted to start building this car. So being I had some machining ability, I said, whatever you want, we'll do. So we started to build it little by little. Got around 2006, brought it out for the first time, took it home, improved it some more. We're still showing it. It's got a flathead in it, blown, 3 Stromberg 97s. We're on 265 on horsepower. It's got an automatic C4 transmission, and drives down the road like $1 million. And we enjoy showing the car. Have a nice day, everybody.
So today we're taking a look at the 2016 Lamborghini Aventador SD. This is the hardcore track version of the normal Aventador. There's 600 of these in the world. The horsepower on this specific car is 750. Naturally aspirated 6.5 liter V12 motor. Center locking wheels. We have a fixed carbon wing in the rear. 4 raw tailpipes coming out of the back of the car, as well as the SD logo on the side. This is one of 2 road production cars that has lapped the Nürburgring track in under 7 minutes. So that's the claim to fame for this vehicle here.
Sure, my name's Ron Dean. I'm from Belmont, Massachusetts, also Naples, Florida. This is a 57 Chevy Corvette. It has 57,000 original miles on it. It's all numbers matching. It was restored about 22 years ago. I purchased the car approximately 16 years ago. I've had it ever since. The paint job is 22 years old. And there's no nicer car than a 57 Corvette. I own about 5 of them. 57 is the best there is.
All right. It's a 1959 Corvette. I've owned it for 44 years. It was my first car. Delivered to my mother and father's house in a basket, and restored restored 3 or 4 times over the last 40 years. And now resides in Naples, Florida. I'm very happy to be here.
This is a 59 Mercedes 190 SL, and I bought it out of California. It was a garage find. The car was in a garage for 20 years or so, and a friend of mine found it and shipped it out to me in New York, and I've owned it for 15 years, and I've finally completed at least a 12-year out of those 15 years restoration. And it initially was my driver car that I used to drive down here in Naples everywhere, including Publix and everywhere else I went with it. But now I've got it to a point where it's really too nice to drive everywhere, car shows and to our clubhouse. And that's basically my story. You know, you get to a point with these restorations where you might want to blow the car up, which I didn't, thank God. And here you have it.
Hi, my name is Bill, and this is my 1970 Chevelle Super Sport. This was a barn find, and it was found up in Illinois, and the tires were sunken into the ground, maybe about a ½ inch deep, and bought it out of Illinois. It had 30,000 miles on it originally, and I restored the whole car top to bottom, and it's a 454 with a 4-speed, factory AC, and loaded with options. The rare option that most cars don't have is the map light mirror, the rear view mirror that has a map light in it, and that's very rare. It has AM/FM stereo, tilt wheel. It's just a great car to have, very unique and very enjoyable to have.
Hi, I'm Jeff Stuber. This is my 62 Ford Falcon Futura. I've had it, I want to say 3 years now. Moved to Bonita Springs full-time this year, but a few years ago I visited my son in Texas, and this little thing followed me home. I've had quite a few classic cars, but I think I love this one at car shows because everybody's got a Falcon story. Their grandma had one, or their brother had one.
My father.
Your father. But that's what I love about it. This one's been changed a little bit. It's got a different motor, different suspension, but it's still a fun little car.
Yeah, my name is Lou Scudillo. I own a 1966 Thunderbird. This is the last year that they made convertibles. For the next 38 years, the car rides like a dream. Had it for 2 years. Wonderful. Best car I've ever owned.
This is a 1957 Alfa Romeo that has been rebodied by Giganto, and we purchased about 15 years ago in Milano. We stopped, we saw it in the middle of near a street, and we just fell in love, and we thought it was the right car to own. So we have enjoyed it very much. And, even more. Anyway, the story is also that as we were there, a nun came by, and she started to say, "Oh, every morning I come near this car, and I thank God for having made these intelligent and beautiful people who made this beautiful car." And that made it. We decided that we could not let go of the car. So they can tell you more about the technical part. I'm telling you the sentimental part.
Well, particular car is one of 16 ever produced, Sprint Veloce, rebodied by Giganto. And at this moment, only 2 have been identified. This particular car, number 4458, and another one in Europe, and we are searching for additional one, but so far we have not located any additional, so it's a very rare car. It is a rare car, apparently was delivered by Giganto in '57 with an engine that apparently will run up to 10,000 RPM, something unbelievable, with a special balancing of the crankshaft. And the car has a long history of racing. The last race capsized and broke the oil pan, and then was abandoned for some 30 or 40 years, and then has been restored. And we had to wait 3 months to title this car in America because there was no record for 30 or 40 years of any registration. So the Department of Motor Vehicles had to search all over the world whether the car had been stolen or missed, and finally.
We enjoy it. We enjoy every minute.
51 years together. And,
all right.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rita Koch, originally from Flemington, New Jersey, but wintering down here as a snowbird for the next couple months. And we're here on Cars on 5th, and this is our 1967 and a half Datsun roadster. It's a little different from the 67 and 68 because they're making changes for federal regulations in the U.S. and stuff. So it's a little unique because there aren't that many made of the 67 and a half with the different pieces on it that make that feature. We've had it for a couple of years. It's a fun little car to ride around in, and I think we're the only Japanese car on the street today.
All right, picked up my 1967 Sunbeam back in the early 80s from a police officer in Stony Point, New York, and I've been playing with it ever since. This is like the second or third time I'm having it restored. The motor's all done, but I had a project. I'm ready to bring it down here to Florida, enter it in the car show. It took me 2.5 years to get it to this point, as you see right now. But it's not really a show car. It's a car I like to drive around. It's a fun car to drive, and that's what I want.
Hi, David Chenoweth here. 1955 Willys station wagon. Bought it in 2002. Decided to have it restored after a year, and went through a 2.5 year restoration. Under the hood is a Flathead 6. They call it a Super Hurricane. 115 horsepower. And that's because of the 4-wheel drive. That's when they had a 6-cylinder, but it was only like about 97 horsepower. And they needed something else for give this 4-wheel drives power, get through the mud. This has been here its entire life in Southwest Florida. Came in Bonita Springs. I bought it from a mechanic, kept it running, top shape, and body-wise, it was in bad shape when I got it. And it needed a total restoration. So we went all out, and we've enjoyed doing these car shows because people don't see these anymore. They're just very rare, you know, but I think that's about it I can tell you.
Thank you very much.
It was a neat vehicle.
Hi, I'm Keith. This is my 1990 Ferrari Testarossa. I imported this car out of Canada 3 years ago. This is the last of the 12-cylinder, non-computerized, flat for 12-cylinder. The car's all original paint. Nothing's ever been done to it. It's got 20,000 original miles on it, or 33,000 kilometers. That's pretty much it.